Oh, I'm live. Didn't know. Okay. Give me 1 second, because now I'm in an annoyed mood. Fucking Christ. So let me pop out the chat. Let me post my links on Facebook. So everybody else who was in here can fucking, fucking come in. Oh my God. Fucking close you out. Because for some reason my fucking CPU is just capped at fucking 100% usage nonstop. So I'm ending fucking Facebook Messenger because hopefully that'll work. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on, post the fucking link. YouTube, not YouTube. Fucking give me a second, because fucking shit on shit on shit. I'm fucking telling you, I hate the Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Oh my fucking God, Google! I'm telling you. I just want to smash fucking Google into its fucking face right now. Okay. Now that we got everything working, let's see. Got to send a link. Got to send links on Facebook. Got to send links on fucking phone. Got to send links on my other fucking Facebook. Got to tweet them out. Got to fucking post them in the Skype chat. A lot of shit. A lot of fucking places. I need to link them. Okay. So we got you, Dan. We got Dan. Sten's doing his own thing right now. Sten's doing his thing because he's playing Borderlands 2. I'm sure Queen's going to jump in here, and she's probably going to ask me about things or whatever. I don't fucking know. Not sure if Chemo's coming back in. I don't know. I'm going to have to delete the other stream. Because these are both named fucking part 50. Or no, sorry, not part 50, part 55. Forgetting the fucking Roman numerals. So, okay. Okay. We're set now. We're set. Fucking everything should work now. Don't fuck me up, Google. Or YouTube. Either one of you. Just hold and calm your tits. Just let me fucking stream. Let me vent. Let me relax. Let me just talk about things. Let me fucking fix my fucking tank top. How are you doing, Dan? Now I really need to drink. Evening, Chemo. Loving the bomb that you're just throwing into my stream to fuck it up. I had a question for you three because I'm expecting Queen to jump in at some point. Had a question. There's a reason why my hat's on right now. Message Queen on Facebook, see if she's on, see if she's coming in. I don't know if she's in right now because there's the delay. Thank you, Dan, for sharing my stream on Facebook and Twitter. You are a true gentleman. Okay. I'm tired. I'm depressed. The usual. So, all right. Since I don't know when Queen's coming in, well, I'm going to be investing in a new gaming laptop, and that fucker's setting me back. I think $1,300. I think it's $1,300, but it's a really good one, and it'll last me for 5 years until I have to update it or get a better one. I mean, I got the Millennium Falcon, and she's on life support right now. I've got a fucking keyboard attached to her because my keyboard on this one's so fucking worn out from typing that some of the keys don't even register sometimes, and some of them lock. No, that sucks. Like, I downloaded an experimental version of Firefox. I forget what type it is. It's not normal Firefox. It's another type, because that one actually will allow Google Hangouts to work, which is the one I'm using right now. Because Chrome, I just despise Google Chrome with a passion. Like, it opens up like 15 fucking instances just for Google Chrome, while Firefox only opens up 2. I'm totally fine with Google. Like, I'm all fine with Firefox just having 2 instances that are massive in fucking physical memory usage over like 15 Google Chrome ones that are the same fucking amount, if not more, and they're all eating up my CPU. So there's that. All right. So I'm going to ask you two, because Halloween's coming up. And you know me. Both of you know me. I love my spooky movies. I like scary movies. Scary movies. I like talking about scary movies. I like Halloween, and I'm a massive sucker for fall and winter. The last two seasons, the last two, they're my favorite. So I've been thinking, because I'm incredibly lazy and incredibly cheap when it comes to costumes for Halloween, I've been going as fucking Kyle Reese for like the last 5 years straight. Because all you need for Kyle Reese is a pair of grungy sneakers, a pair of grungy pants, a grungy shirt, and then a trench coat. I got all of those. But I'm tired of it. And so I was talking to a couple friends on my real Facebook, and one of them was talking about Game of Thrones. And so we were shooting the shit, we were talking and minding and just talking about things. And she decides to go, you know what? I'm going to say this, and you can deny it all you want, but you look like Jon Snow. You look like Jon Snow. You got the scruffy, growing in beard. You got the long hair. I'm sure if you do things right and you actually like make yourself look presentable, you could look like Jon Snow. So I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't know why you're picking me to be the stock hero of the saga, but all right. So basically, every time I shower, I comb my hair back. And so I was looking in the mirror. I'm like, you know, if I just tie off all my hair in the back into a ponytail, get myself a fucking costume for Jon Snow, I could be Jon Snow. So I want to know if you guys think I should dress up as Jon Snow for Halloween. I was looking at costumes for him. I could get a Night's Watch outfit for like $300. And I'm saying $300 because that's counting Longclaw into the price. Because you gotta have a Longclaw. You can't. That's the one thing about costumes. If you're gonna go as a costume, like a character from a show or a movie or something, or you're gonna go as a type of thing, you need to have the whole set. You just can't. You can't say I'm a Viking because you got a fucking metal, like a conical helm with fucking horns on it, and just that's it, and just walk around in your normal clothes and be like, I'm a Viking. See, my head, my helmet, I'm a Viking. You can't dress as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, like fully, and be like, I'm Aragorn, because you could just look like any fucking fantasy ranger. Like Aragorn is so bland in appearance, unless you're talking about King Elisar when he becomes king of Gondor, when he marches towards the Moranon. Oh God, fucking Tolkien's coming out of me again. I gotta stop. But if you're gonna go as that, okay, maybe you can go off. You can not do that. But most of the time, like if I'm gonna dress up as somebody and I'm gonna spend money on this shit, I'm gonna get the full works. Like if I'm going as a fucking commando from Vietnam, because I could easily do that. I'm gonna dress with my fucking fatigues on and my rig and my backpack and all my stuff, and I'll grab one of my airsoft guns and be like, see, I'm from fucking Vietnam, bitch. Look at my helmet. I got my fucking the dates I've been in, dates I'm out. I just do that. Like, so yeah, like I might be going as Jon Snow. Gonna probably go as Night's Watch Jon Snow because I was looking at the other Jon Snow costumes they've got, and they're really fucking they are really cheap looking. The Night's Watch one I'm looking at is like $230, and it comes with a really crappy cloak. But here's the thing: I found out that all of the fur trim on the cloaks they use are from IKEA, and they're I think $59. They're either $59 or $7. Like they're between $60 and $70 rugs. And all they do is they just snip them and fucking they rake them with, I think, a steel brush to wear them out so that they're all stringy. And then they just fucking they sew them right onto the brim where your neck is. So I could probably just get a fucking rug from fucking Walmart or Target or some furniture shop and be like, oh, this looks like something to be on a fur trim cloak, and then just make my own trim. Or I'll just wear the fucking cloak, or I just won't because I don't know how cold the weather is. But I could just walk around and just be like, winter is coming, just constantly. I have a very good brooding face. I brood all the time. I've been brooding in my bedroom for fucking since Friday, Thursday night. So I can do it. I can do it. We'll see. I'll see how my budget is. Now all I need though is somebody as egret. I'll need somebody as egret, and then I'll have to find a friend of mine that'll be Tureman Giantsbane, aka one of my favorite characters from the series. Just walk around. I could. I mean, yeah. Like, because I had that one friend, Jon Snow, but then told me, like, I act kind of like Jon Snow. I'm not as stupid as Jon Snow, which awesome, thank you. That's actually a compliment when you're comparing me to a fucking character that I actually know. But she said I'm more like Jorah Mormont. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like Jorah. I'm pretty much Jorah Mormont. In the regard she was talking about, I'm pretty much Jorah Mormont. So, got to deal with that. I got to go onto Facebook again because I'm sure my friend Molly's probably freaking out about the whole apartment scam shit. Also, yes, to anybody who's watching this stream, you missed out on me talking about how I was scammed out of $1,100 on a fucking apartment. Yay! So, ain't no way I'm getting that $1,100 back. So, there's that, I guess. Oh, that's nice. That's a good area. And what the fuck? So, who were the people? I'm sorry about the blank issue. I guess blank's going through something, and blank isn't very well at communicating during stressful times. Question mark. Not trying to make excuses, but still. Wow. Okay, that's weird. That's real weird. For some reason, I can't type in Facebook in my fucking. Facebook's not in my fucking phone's dictionary, but YouTube is, and it's spelt the way it looks. It's not a lowercase t; it's a capital T. And that's weird. But hey, go figure. Okay, I've never seen this before in the chat. So apparently, this new chat, I don't have to click on the side of comments. Apparently, if I scroll over it, I'm allowed to. It just gives me three icons: a trash can to delete the comment, the other one's to put the user in timeout, and then what's this one? Oh, block. Okay. I'm gonna refresh the chat because it's been fucking like 10 minutes and I haven't seen anybody typing, so the hell if I'm really shitty at hosting these fucking things. Not sure if I want to crack out the J&B Scotch Whiskey Blend or the Jim Beam Bourbon. Oh, hey, okay, there we go. We actually have fucking... what'd Chemo say? All right, so Dan said, you could cosplay Jon Snow. Chemo said, I'd say you look like Daario Naharis, but Jon Snow would be easier to, quote, recognize or whatever. To be honest, Chemo, yeah, I could myself being Daario Naharis. Thank you, Dan, for welcoming me back to my own fucking chat. But I don't know. Unpopular opinion, because I'm not fully sure how you feel about Daario Naharis, Chemo. He was just kind of meh, just kind of meh. I mean, in the he'd probably be more of a memorable character if he actually looked like how he's described in the book. Because in the book, if I remember correctly, he has gold-colored hair, but he's dyed his... I believe he dyed his beard. So he has like this really royal blue beard and then like dyed yellow hair. And it's like fucking done up so he has like 3 fucking little fucking braided parts to his beard hanging off his chin. Maybe if they did that, I'd be like, oh yeah, that fucker. That guy with the weird blue beard. I just call him Old Bluebeard. So, All right. So, Jim Beam or J&B? Should I go fucking RJ McCready like from The Thing, or should I just go Jim Beam? I mean, they're both pretty much... Yeah, this one's probably a little less... Probably got enough to get a little... probably drunk off of this fucking bottle, and probably enough to get drunk off this bottle. Yeah, like... just go naked to the party and say you're Daario Naharis after banging Daenerys in the pyramid. Could do that. I could. I'd probably get charged, but I could do that. His character is, quote, all right. Not like I'd cry a river if they kill him off. Pretty much. Like, I was talking to Dan in a Skype group I'm in with him about the blandness of the characters of Game of Thrones and how progression isn't a really thing. Quick question: how do you feel about Syrio Forel? Syrio Forel? That sounds like a type of acid just by the way it sounds. Syrio Forel. I swear if that's a Game of Thrones character, Dan, he beats fucking me. And he's that fucking guy. Yeah, I liked him. He was pretty good, and it's probably because of how eccentric he was. I like Syrio. Syrio is pretty good. I don't believe the whole fan theory that, oh, he's a faceless man. Also, spoilers for anybody who's watching that doesn't know anything about Game of Thrones or watches the series. I mean, he was in what season? Yeah, he was like in season 1. So if you haven't watched season 1, sorry. But basically, I like there's that whole fan theory where like he was following Arya and stuff. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, he's from Bravos. Okay. So Melisandre is from fucking Essos. Varys is from Essos. Do that mean that they were fucking following one of the main characters? No. Well, except for Melisandre, because she was going after Stannis. You know. Fucking, oh my god. I hate Melisandre. I just hate a lot of the characters in general. But I was telling Dan, to get back to my point, because I've been rambling, I was talking to Dan about how in Game of Thrones, a lot of characters don't get plot development and character development. Because we were having a discussion. I wouldn't say it was a disagreement, wouldn't say it's an argument, just or a debate. Yeah, it's more of a wet dream than anything, like a lot of the fucking things. But we were talking about genres, film genres, because I'm becoming more and more exhausted with how movies are classified by a genre. Like, for instance, Alien Covenant. That's supposed to be a horror movie, and I'm not horrified by it. I'm not. Like, there's a lot of scary movies that I see that are like, oh, psychological thriller, and it's supposed to be a horror movie. It's like, well, why is it a psychological thriller? Why wouldn't you classify it as psychological horror or a horror thriller? Don't know who the fuck that was. But yeah, like, we were talking about genres and how we all have our grievances with genres. And then I brought up the fact of epics. I hate the definition. That was some fucking weirdo outside just yelling. But so we were having I was pretty much venting and rambling about my disagreements with the classification and genre epic. An epic, in the historical sense, is a poem. But when it comes to movies and books, they just like to slap epic on it. Oh, there's like 7 books? Oh, it's an epic. Oh, this movie has 3 movies in it? Oh, it's an epic. Star Wars, I don't even know if Star Wars is classified as an epic. It's just science fantasy. That's it. Star Wars is a science fantasy. And I've had so many disagreements about Star Wars on its genre. It's science fantasy. It's not a science fiction fantasy. It's science fantasy. There's a difference. Star Trek is science fiction because it bases its science off of real world logistics as best as it can. I'm gonna stipulate that because there's gonna be some people going, oh well, warp drive, sir. You know, warp drive isn't a real thing, even though we're working on a warp drive right now. We don't have transporters. We don't have disruptors and phasers and photon torpedoes. Okay, you got me there, sir. But they do talk about classifications of planets. They do bring up like medical jargon that's actually kind of close to present day jargon. They talk about the scientific and the engineering structures of the ship, and they classify everything as realistic as they make it believable. Star Wars completely out the fucking, like, they just picture Gene Roddenberry had just written down everything about how the fucking Starship Enterprise works. And trust me, there's a lot of episodes in all the series where they show like how a starship works. George Lucas just grabs that whole fucking handful of paper and just out the fucking window. I got fucking laser swords and I got guns that they're like this fucking big that they just blow shit up. I got giant fucking moon-sized stations that blow planets up. Come at me, Roddenberry. Come at me, Asimov. Go fuck yourselves. Well, how does the Millennium Falcon work? Fuck if I know. It just goes it makes the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs. That's not a distance of like that's not a measurement of distance. Pfft, fuck if I care. It's a parsec. It's the ship that made the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs. We got hyperdrive. Fuck if we know how it works. We'll just let the fans write up some fucking fan theory or just their own interpretation of how it works. We got hyperspace. But yeah, like they just like it's science fantasy because the science and the science elements do not play a key element in Star Wars. They do in Star Trek. Star Trek is science fiction because it's supposed to be set in our time in like the 2200s because they talk about the eugenics war, the 90s on Earth. They talk like Earth's history happened. It's just the future. It's Roddenberry's interpretation of the future. So he tried to explain as much as he could with how things work. Science fiction. You try to make a believable future or a believable fictional setting that's technologically advanced. Star Wars doesn't do that. Star Wars is a character-driven narrative with mythological and fantastical elements to it. And there just happens to be blasters and lightsabers and starships set in space. It's a fantasy story set in space. You could take Star Wars and put it in any fucking setting and it'd work. I want to set it in feudal Japan. Works. It works. You could have a fantastical airship called the Falcon. It could be a boat called the Falcon. It works. Fucking lightsabers would be katanas and fucking Darth Vader would be a fucking Oni. Or just a guy, a samurai clad in black armor that's all burned and some shit. It works. You could set it in fucking Europe. You could set it, it could be a pirate fucking movie, for God's sakes. Star Wars would work. The Death Star would be a massive, like, you can make the Death Star an ironclad warship. It could be a steam-powered warship. And it'd just be like a fucking, one of the earliest fucking inklings of like an actual, like, battleship. It'd work. You could make Star Wars set in World War II and it'd fucking work. It would. Any setting. Steampunk, fucking cyberpunk, any genre or any setting, you could plop Star Wars in it and it'd work. Because that's how vague Star Wars is with what's happening. The characters would have to stay. The lore would have to stay. And the struggles and the conflicts would have to stay. But the aesthetics, the setting, that doesn't have to stay because of how Star Wars is written. So now that I'm done with that rambling about how I fucking just loathe when people say, oh, well, Star Wars is a science fiction movie, back to epics. I don't see Game of Thrones as an epic. I don't. Epics to me, and this is all opinion-based, mind you, I understand, but hear me out on my opinion. Epics have three things. There are three key factors to a story that I feel make it an epic. One, there's an incredibly complex and detailed backstory and lore. And that could include mythologies, a fucking cosmology, fucking languages, races, intricate backstories woven between characters and stuff with an actual fleshed out history. Two, the characters you follow go from point A, the start of the story, to point B, the end of the story, and they are dramatically changed throughout because of their situations that they are thrown into. And three, and I'd say this is an optional one, is the length of the story. Like the Odyssey is a one-book story, but it's an epic. Beowulf is an epic, and that fucker fits in one book. The Lord of the Rings is one book. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand about the Lord of the Rings. Like, because when I brought up this argument going, well, you know, the fucking like Game of Thrones is 7 books, so they slapped epic on it. And they're like, well, Lord of the Rings has 3 books. It's actually 6 books put in 3 volumes. It's actually 1 book. You can go to a bookstore or you can order a book online of Lord of the Rings as 1 fucking book. She's going to probably be about that thick, but you can do it. It's 1 book. Game of Thrones is not 1 book. It's not. It's just not. Like, fucking George R. Martin even said that when he originally wrote the story, it was big enough for 3. And then he was like, oh, well, I think it was after like book 2, he was like, oh, well, I'm going to like, well, this kind of doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to try and expand this and I'm going to do this. And it just started to fucking just exponentially get bigger in length. Harry Potter is an epic. That's 7 books. The reason why it's 7 books follows the 7 years of Harry's fucking schooling. That's it. The Wheel of Time is an epic. Like, the characters we follow, I'll use like I did with the conversation where I was rambling in the Skype chat. Harry Potter. He goes from a bright-eyed 11-year-old boy in the first book. You can just read the first book and that's it. That's it. It's just a nice little children's fantasy book. But if you follow the epic of it, you can see him progressively getting changed. Each book has him changing, and just over the course of the series, he has dramatically changed. That just happens. That's just what fucking happens. That's how great Rowling is as an author. You don't have to. You can stop up to fucking. You could stop at book 3. You could not read the rest of the book series, and it'd be fine. But once you hit book 4, 5, 6, and 7, you have to read that to continue it. If you want to say books year 4 through 7 is the epic to the Harry Potter franchise. I mean, granted, you'd probably have to read the first book to understand like the backstory for it, but each book is so heavily fleshed out and there's such a rich backstory and lore inside the story for you because Harry is your proxy. It's how you learn about the world. You don't really have to know that much. Like, I would say, now going back to the Game of Thrones thing, the reason why I don't think Game of Thrones is an epic is because, 1, the characters don't really advance. They don't really advance in the grand scheme of things in A Song of Fire and Ice. And that's because a lot of the characters we follow fucking die. Just saying it. I'm just saying, a lot of the characters in both in the books and in the TV show fucking die before there's an actual right when they get their character development or right before they do, they're killed. Just flat out fucking killed. And it sucks. Give me one moment because fucking for some reason. Oh my god, because fucking Firefox is deciding to fucking lag out. I see a mouse from Chemo. God, this fucking lag. There we go. Awesome. So anyways, When it comes to characters in Game of Thrones, I'll bring up a character from season 1 for you. I'll bring up a character for season 1 for you. Ned Stark. Ned Stark. I'll get to the audience, because I don't know who's I'm sure somebody's going to be watching this afterwards. I'll give you 30 seconds to name 3 major character features or characteristics of Ned Stark. I'll give you 30 seconds while I take my shots. Also, cheers, Dan, while I'm waiting for the future audience to tell me their 3 characteristics of Ned Stark. Yes, aka one of my favorite characters. All right. I think that's 30 seconds. I don't fucking know. I can be quite impatient at times, as some people have said. Okay. So, Chemo turned in his paper. Gold star for Chemo. Okay. Three characteristics I can name off at the top of my head for Ned Stark. Number 1 is a giant capital L for loyalty. Ned Stark is fiercely loyal. 2, he's devoted to his family and friends. And 3,